Picture this, a luxury cruise ship, right? It's suddenly thrust into an absolute living nightmare. You've got passengers locked in their cabins, hazmat suits swarming the docks, and this terrifying, deadly virus tearing through the guests. I mean, it sounds exactly like a Hollywood disaster movie. But here's the crazy part. This exact scenario is playing out in the real world right now. And it gets even weirder. What if I told you a certain, highly famous animated family might have actually warned us about this literal exact event well over a decade ago? Seriously, stick with me to the end of this explainer because the actual truth behind this whole internet panic is going to absolutely blow your mind.
So let's dive right into this mystery. For years, people have joked that the writers of The Simpsons are, well, basically time travelers. From predicting smartwatches to literal presidencies, their track record is frankly pretty unnerving. But right now, the internet is absolutely losing its collective mind over a brand new theory. Is there an actual functioning crystal ball hidden in that famous writer's room? Or are we just desperately connecting dots that just aren't there?
Just to give you an idea of the sheer panic spreading online right now, consider this recent viral TikTok by user @itsmccardio6. The video has already racked up over 5.1 million views, and in it, he's genuinely asking, like dead serious, which episode he needs to go watch so he can figure out our future. And the crazy thing is, he's definitely not alone. Millions of people are suddenly looking to a literal cartoon to tell them exactly how this real-life maritime disaster is going to play out.
Okay, to really understand this panic, we need to look at this totally eerie timeline. We're tracing a massive 14-year jump here. Way back in 2012, Season 23, Episode 19 of the show aired, and it featured a catastrophic virus breaking out on a cruise ship. Fast forward 14 years to May 2026, and the MV Hantavirus reports a terrifying, totally real virus outbreak at sea, and practically overnight, the internet just absolutely explodes with conspiracies.
But before we get too deep into the whole cartoon prophecy stuff, we absolutely have to ground ourselves in the very real, very high-stakes situation happening today. The MV Hantavirus is a Dutch-operated expedition cruise ship. What was supposed to be this incredible, once-in-a-lifetime dream vacation for these passengers has completely morphed into a dark, claustrophobic nightmare of medical emergencies and just pure terror out on the open ocean.
Now, what's really crucial to understand here is the grim reality of the virus itself, the Andes Hantavirus. Look, this isn't your average run-of-the-mill cruise ship stomach bug. This is a zoonotic disease. It's primarily rodent-borne, which means, thankfully, it's rarely transmitted from human to human. But when it does strike, ooh man, it starts out feeling like the flu, but it can rapidly escalate into something called Hantavirus cardiopulmonary syndrome, or HCPS. That's a severe respiratory illness that boasts a genuinely terrifying fatality rate of up to 50%. Literally a coin toss.
3. That's the number of lives this current outbreak has already claimed. Out of just 8 confirmed cases on the Hantavirus so far, 3 people have tragically lost their lives. So yeah, the stakes here are incredibly real, and they could not be higher.
As this whole crisis unfolded, the MV Hantavirus was basically forced to drop anchor in the Canary Islands in Spain. I want you to picture the incredibly spooky, almost dystopian scenes here. You've got passengers being physically escorted off the ship by medical personnel wrapped head to toe in heavy hazmat suits and breathing masks. From there, 18 Americans were flown straight to a specialized national quarantine unit all the way in Nebraska. And now, they're facing a super strict 42-day monitoring period. I mean, seriously, put yourself in their shoes for a second. What on earth would you do if your luxury vacation suddenly turned into a 42-day military-grade quarantine? It's wild.
So, keeping that heavy, real-world reality in the back of our minds, let's pivot back to the big mystery that is the internet completely buzzing. Let's look at this supposed prophecy. The episode everyone's talking about is titled, "A Totally Fun Thing Bart Will Never Do Again." And honestly, when you sit down and watch the clips people are sharing nonstop online, well, it's pretty easy to see why the alarm bells are ringing so loudly. Because in the episode, the family's idyllic cruise is suddenly interrupted by this massive TV screen broadcasting a static-filled, ultra-creepy emergency message. A fictional character, General William Sullivan, gets on screen and delivers this totally stark warning. He says, and I quote, "The deadly Pandora virus is spreading rapidly. All ships must remain at sea until further. Humanity must endure." He raises his fist, the screen violently crackles to black, and total panic ensues. And this right here perfectly illustrates why millions of people online are utterly convinced the show's creators somehow predicted this exact lockdown scenario.
I mean, think about it. You've got a family trapped on a cruise ship at sea. You've got this sudden apocalyptic virus announcement broadcast globally. You've got terrified passengers scattering in pure, unadulterated chaos. The parallels between the show and real life feel undeniably, almost uncomfortably creepy.
But we gotta ask ourselves, is it actually a prophecy? Let's put our detective hats on for a second, step away from the viral TikTok algorithms, and really unpack the actual, hard truth hidden beneath these rumors. Because the thing is, when you start looking closely at the details, they start painting a very, very different picture.
Let's actually compare the two outbreaks side by side. Take Bart's Hantavirus. What all those viral 60-second clips conveniently leave out is that the virus in the show wasn't even real within the cartoon's own universe. It was actually a fake movie clip played by Bart just to trick everyone into staying at sea, so his awesome vacation wouldn't have to end. Now contrast that with the real-world Andes Hantavirus. That is a very real, very dangerous rodent-borne virus. And unlike the cartoon where the ship is doomed to be permanently quarantined out at sea forever, the real-life passengers were safely docked in Spain and quickly repatriated to their home countries. When you break it down, Bart's fictional little prank shares zero actual DNA with this tragic real-life outbreak.
And hey, while we're in the business of getting our facts completely straight, it is absolutely crucial we bust some of the other wild conspiracies floating around out there about this outbreak. First off, no, this hantavirus is absolutely not a side effect of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. Not a thing. Secondly, no, it wasn't secretly predicted by some cryptic magazine covers from The Economist. And those scary rumors you might have seen about a purple tongue being some kind of unique hantavirus symptom, actually, scratch that, it's just cyanosis. That's a general lack of oxygen that happens to anyone during severe respiratory distress. It is definitely not some engineered sci-fi biological marker.
So that leaves us with a big question. How did the writers even come up with the idea of a cruise ship virus quarantine way back in 2012 in the first place? Well, just look at history. Back in May 2009, which was 3 years before the episode even aired, by the way, the P&O Pacific Dawn had a massive H1N1 outbreak where Australian authorities literally demanded the ship stay at sea. And just recently, in early 2026 alone, the CDC reported 4 completely different gastrointestinal outbreaks on cruises. You see, the writers didn't need a magical crystal ball. They just knew that densely packed cruise ships where everyone is sharing the exact same food, the same spaces, and the same air are historically incredibly prone to viral spread.
Which brings us to our final verdict. Was this a prophecy? No, absolutely not. It is a very chilling coincidence, yes, for sure, but it's entirely built on solid real-world logic. The show simply took a known, recurring travel risk and totally exaggerated it for comedic effect. There's no grand conspiracy here, folks, just the really tragic reality of how viruses naturally operate in closed environments.
But man, it really does leave us with a fascinating, lingering thought, doesn't it? Does predictive programming actually exist in our media, or are our minds just so completely desperate to make sense of sudden tragedies that we actively search for patterns in the dark? When random chaos strikes, it's just basic human nature to want some kind of blueprint to tell us what's going to happen next.
So I gotta ask you, and I mean really think about it. If you were on a luxury cruise and suddenly heard an announcement over the intercom that the ship was locked down for a 42-day medical quarantine, what is the literal first thing you would do? Seriously, I want to know your survival strategies. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you found this explainer helpful and you want to keep separating cold hard facts from wild internet fiction, be sure to drop a like and hit that subscribe button for more deep dives. Stay curious, stay safe out there, and I'll catch you in the next one.